Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Conversations That Conquer. I am meeting with the one and only Amanda with One Arrow Therapy, and she has an expertise. She has a gift to help people walk through trauma with relationships, self-worth, and all the limiting beliefs that people go through. And she just has such a gift to connect with people. And that is exactly why I wanted to bring you on here, Amanda, to be able to give you this platform for me and you to talk about what it is that you do, what it is that I do a little bit, and be able to bridge that gap. Because a lot of people don't know that being able to do both together with the type of therapy work that you do and the neurologically based chiropractic care that we do, how much it can really launch their healing journey forward
Yeah.
versus seeing it kind of move at like a glacier speed sometimes. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just am so grateful that you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm super honored to be here. I am such a mega fan of the combo of chiropractic and therapy. Like I talk about it all the time. So yeah, thank you.
Yes. And so what I really wanted to talk to you about today was what is regulation, because people hear like, well, my nervous system is dysregulated and I can't just like will it to
Mhm.
get regulated again. And
Yeah.
so what do you typically see people like show up for you when you first meet them, and where do you like find dysregulated patterns, and then how do you help explain to people like, yeah, you are dysregulated and this is how we can help your body and your brain and your emotions regulate.
Yeah, good question. I think honestly, there's kind of some idea around like some pop culture ideas around regulation where someone should be regulated all the time. And that's not true. I think of it as our nervous system has, this fight or flight response, and then we have this rest or digest response, and then right in the middle there's what we call a window of tolerance, and that's really where we want to live most of the time. But you can't like it, the window that's regulation, something that you can actually process so that if it does initiate a fight or flight response, let's say you get into a car wreck, being amped and having a lot of adrenaline is so appropriate. I would be really concerned if you're in your window of tolerance when like people's lives need saving, right? Like you kind of need this rush of like take action, fight, flight, make things happen, you know, to be the problem is that most people stay there
Mm.
through other things like sitting in school or trying to make dinner for their kids, and they stay in those places either too much gas or too much brake. And where it can be really confusing is sometimes you've got gas and brake going on at the same time, and it's like that terrible screeching noise basically in your nervous system. So the ideal is regulation is being able to come back to your window of tolerance after you've been in those places of dysregulation, and making sure that it's appropriate for the situation.
Adaptability is like
Yeah.
what comes to mind, and something that people I think crave to be taught and be heard and understood is that adaptability is not like a personality trait, you know. It's
Yeah.
definitely something that you build in as a skill, right? I
Yeah.
think of like the meme where like the dog is sitting at the coffee table and is like everything's fine, but everything around him is like burning down to the ground. Like
Right,
everything's
right.
fine, I'm good.
Yeah.
Not adaptable,
Yeah.
right? And
Dissociate.
so why do you
Yeah.
think so many like high functioning individuals, even like myself included, um, they would find like life looks good on paper, but really
hmm
not so much.
I mean, I think it starts young. I think many of us are, and this is all well-meaning. Like, we're not here to villainize parents. Parenthood really doesn't come with a manual, right? So
Yeah.
parents do the best they can, and there have been like a lot of things that like I don't know, like infants being encouraged, parents being encouraged with infants to do the cry it out method, right? Your baby isn't going to learn regulation from that. They're a baby, they're an infant. What they learn is that when they cry, no one's coming. And eventually, over time, many high functioning adults learn through childhood that no one's coming. or maybe they look at a family system and see, wow, everybody's, emotionally drowning. And so I need to make sure I have my stuff figured out because I can't contribute to this chaos. And so, it's just being part of an ecosystem where if something's down, you move up in an effort to adapt the homeostasis of that system. So there's a lot of high functioning, incredible professional adults who have mega amounts of anxiety. And they're really good at handling everything and they feel responsible for everything. So the flip side is it's now their superpower because they're very effective. But the downside is that they can't come down very easy from that. And sometimes they're impossible to be around because they're just really up here in that fight or flight. And so it takes a lot to almost sort through and relearn some of these cognitive negative beliefs that have evolved throughout your lifetime. That's like, oh, it's safe enough for me to pause. It's safe enough for me to feel. It's safe enough for me to ask for help. Or I'm not responsible for absolutely everything.
Yeah. And I think it's so powerful to have a guide be able to walk you through those
Yeah.
patterns because sometimes you don't see that as like a negative impact. You see like I can hold on to more, give me more because that actually like helps me not have to like deal with this other thing over here. Like the more I
Yeah.
deal with this, and actually voluntarily voluntarily walk to a guide and say, hey, like I'm seeing this and I need help guiding me through that is
Mhm.
what I think you provide so well is being able to like give the tools to do that. I mean, is that like what first comes to mind for you is like a high functioning individual? That's usually the pattern that you see. What do you usually see helps bridge the gap for them to be able to visualize that with just a person that is just doing the type of work that you do?
Mhm.
And also, what does it look like for you to walk somebody through that that's doing the type of work that you do and somebody that's doing some body work as well?
Yeah. Um, I think what I see most with high functioning individuals and regulation is that they're so good at muscling or thinking their way through problems that they really think they're going to think their way through this. They're like, this time I'm going to do it. I'm going to just think so hard. I'll be able to make it this time. And that's really that's how they've been able to accomplish so much that it's true for everything else. But there's no amount of thinking that will actually achieve that. If that were true, you would have already had it by now, like years ago. And so that's where I love like the body work, the chiropractic and the nervous system regulation in combo with therapy, especially a type that does take the nervous system and the somatic approach into consideration, because some people can stay in their head forever, but your body and the sensations you feel are what often inform how safe you are. And so I could tell someone who's high functioning, like, just stop it all day long, and it's not going to do anything because their body's telling them, we can't. If I put this down, no one else will pick it up. If I put this down, everybody will, like, my world will fall apart, like this is on me. And so it's a process of learned safety, of being able, it's a felt sensation, and of being able to smooth through some of those nervous system like speed bumps and things like that, uh, that allow like a smooth sort of message system to happen. And I mean that is like the value of like a guide, a chiropractor, a therapist. It'd be really great if I could do it all myself. I've tried to do it all myself, but like I have a therapist. I'll always have a chiropractor, because and I joke with my clients, I'm like, they're your grand therapist, because it's just we're designed to need each other. It's like our biology, like whales might migrate north and geese fly south, and we are designed to be us, like a community.
Yeah. I often hear people really like say, wow, I feel like I just had a therapy session with you. And I'm like, I was like, we got to hang out for like, we got to talk for like 7 minutes. I got to adjust you. You got to let me know what some of your problems are. I said maybe one plant or seed planting thing for you, but you need like 10 hours of that. Maybe more.
That's some effective therapy right there. Like right to the heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, we're sitting in a room, I'm getting an adjustment done, and they'll say something like that, and I'm like, well, why is that triggering you? And
Oh my
that's
gosh. They've
that's like
probably never thought that before. Yeah.
straight to the dagger, straight to the
That's
heart.
that's
And they're
awesome.
like, no one's ever asked me that before.
Right. I mean, you're so right. Probably the response that they get is, have you considered stopping that? Or like, or they'll find that it's very invalidating, even though it's well-meaning, to be like, well, at least, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least you're not starving. At least, and that actually is pretty invalidating. You ask, well, what have you noticed? Why is that triggering? And they're like, whoa, I
Why
don't
does that
know.
trigger you? That's such
Yeah.
a good question I would say, like, for me, that's been one of the biggest tools that I've gotten from doing this type of work is to be able to just ask myself that. Is be able to ask myself. I don't need somebody to ask it for me. Like that's what it used to have to be.
Yeah.
And that still even sometimes like triggered me. It's just like, well, I'm not triggered. What are you talking about? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what that feels like. And so starting to learn that. Um, I know we both probably call it this, but it's that reticular activating system. It's like I want a really cool like red Jeep, and that's all you see, like
Yeah.
going down the road now. And I feel like a lot of people are coming more aware to the reticular activating system and what it does and how it functions. And you focus on what you think about, and you become those. And it
Hmm.
happens in the negative direction and the positive direction too. And so once you start to really train that, and again, you are not going to just will yourself into that. That's
Hmm.
something that takes consistency for it.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I love what you're doing with it is you're not necessarily overriding it to be like, don't be negative, but you're overriding it to get curious as to why you are experiencing this. And that's the helpful like alternate route. Like, what about this feels important to me? Why would I have this on repeat? What's actually going on? Why is this triggering? That gives you all of the in between space rather than just positive vibes only, Like,
it's all
yeah,
good all the time.
it's really not. I mean,
I'm
I
blessed.
think, yeah, I think there is a time where you just have to survive and you
Sure.
kind of have like it's a emotional triage situation and you can't really go there. But the the emotional debt will always come due at some point, and that's
Absolutely.
awesome to ask those questions. Yeah.
Absolutely. You walk in and you'll walk into a room and you see somebody like that's about to break down and they don't want to. And then you
Oh,
ask them and you're like, "How are you?" And they're like, "Don't ask me that. I don't want to talk about
yeah,
it."
their
Like,
eyes get wide. Well, and I'm guessing even with you, with your work that you do, you probably don't even have to say anything and just adjusting. You might notice just like it's all right there. And that's the somatic body part that I think is missed in a lot of if a therapy session is talk only, it's missed. And honestly, that was sometimes kind of confusing for me in grad school because um, a lot of it was like talk and like skills based that way, which is so valuable. It like helped me grow in that area. But if you just stay with just talk, just that, like you're only hitting 20%. We've got 80% right through the body, and that's where you could probably find that just through your adjustment. And then you ask, and it's like, whoa, that was a therapy session. Probably because it was. Yeah.
we just started taking care of a new mom I think yesterday, and she was coming in talking about like how much tension is on her back. It's just like it was a pretty significant amount to the point where she was like, I need to go to the emergency room. Like it was just so painful.
Mm.
And her poor husband just like, you're just you're just holding on to a lot of resentment. Like you need to let it go.
Oh my gosh, did she murder him right there? She's like, resentment at you. Yeah.
It's like, well, like in the moment now, like we're talking it out, and it's like maybe it wasn't wrong, but also like your spine is definitely jacked up. Like you need, but it was
Yeah.
so funny when she saw us that. Oh my gosh. So why do you think like why do you think it is so hard for people to get curious about those feelings of resentment or of being triggered or being defensive or of being sad or feeling ashamed and those type of things?
Yeah. Uh, I think historically they've been pointed out like socially as being negative. You know, I have like you might have seen the feelings wheel. I have a feelings wheel huge bolster in my office, and someone was once like, "Man, it really sucks that there's only like 25 or like maybe 15% of it that is positive emotion." And what is interesting about that is that there are no positive or negative emotions. There are unwanted emotions, and there are like confusing or inappropriate emotions. If I'm at a funeral, it would be really inappropriate for me to just be giggling and happy and lighthearted if someone is grieving and just in the most distress of their life. And if someone comes up and kicks my dog, it'd be really weird if I thought that was just like sweet and funny. Like it would be appropriate if I'm freaking mad, and I'm ready to like put like take some action and be like absolutely not. So like there are unwanted want emotions, and I think a lot of it is scary because no one has taught us how, well, and this is not true, most of us have not had someone teach us what to do with the unwanted or uncomfortable emotions. Many people, like for instance, this is a generalization, but many women don't know really what to do with anger.
Mhm.
And many men aren't really allowed to feel socially sad, but they can be angry plenty, and that's not
Right.
emotional. But like they don't know how to process sadness because it could come across as weakness. And so like they just where are you going to get that from unless you're going to therapy or really doing a lot of psychoeducation and work? Where would you have learned that from?
Yeah.
And it perpetuates because the minute our children or someone else, our partner, whoever, just like exhibits this unwanted emotion that we don't know what to do with ourselves, we're going to be so uncomfortable. It's really common to want to shut that down as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Don't be mad with me, but I just spent this much at TJ Maxx, right? Like, or don't be sad and then say whatever and then expect them not to be sad. That's just us not knowing what to do with it or how to handle it. It lowers our tolerance for other people, and then also like kind of keeps us stuck because if you're only allowed to be happy, where are you supposed to show up? When, in my opinion, life isn't about being happy all the time, it's about feeling all
Yeah.
the time, being embodied.
I love that. And I love what you just like showed as an example of like this is actually what happens on a day-to-day basis. This is everyday language that you say what you're going to say and then try to like hey project on like put your guards down before I even say something. That for me, I'm immediately going to be like my guards are going to go up. I'm not going to be like, okay, cool. I'll just not.
Don't be mad, and I'm already mad.
I'm already there. So
I don't know what to
something that I have noticed that helps me a lot, and also helps Kiana out a lot too, is we'll say this to each other, and I think I learned this from you, was essentially like, um, let me know how this feels for you.
hmm
And then I say the dumb thing that I'm gonna say, or the
Yeah.
smart thing I'm gonna say. But I'm just like, let me know how this lands for you. Let me know how this hits for you. Let me know how this feels for you.
hmm
But I just did this, or this just happened, or this is how I think about this, or this is how I feel about this, or XYZ, whatever that is, versus expecting them to just do what you're wanting them to do.
hmm
And it has gone a lot better because then Kiana gets to tell me, okay, well, this is how I feel about that.
Hmm.
And then we get to talk about it. So I get to understand how she feels, and then we get to work through it together, which has been really helpful. What would you say as far as like as that goes? Is that like a good skill for people to be able to do with each other?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage to have an interaction that's heated. No one's okay in a moment like this. Like it feels like your world's crashing in. It takes a lot of courage to allow for someone to express themselves and then to be able to reflect that back before you defend
Yeah.
or like try to like justify your
Mhm.
own narrative,
Yeah.
and so it takes a lot of courage to say, hey, I'm noticing this and I'm feeling this, how does that land for you? I'm interested in your experience.
Yeah.
And what's really beautiful about that is there isn't one correct narrative. There is not.
Right.
You both have your own completely different experiences. And if you're fighting for who's right, like you'll fight forever,
Yeah.
especially in relationships, in couples. The Gottman Institute has done all of this research for 30 plus years, and they've found in all that research that you'll only ever truly agree on six, or you won't ever truly agree on 69% of your conflict.
Wow.
And so it's mostly about honoring,
Mm.
you know, your experiences and then being able to understand each other and then figure out where you go from there. But if you don't have the courage to be able to put it out there and then be able to be ready to listen rather than defend first, like that's really hard to get any amount of progress. You'll be in like gridlock forever.
And that's just with like maybe someone you love or like an adult, but for you as an adult with your kiddo, how would
Mm-hmm.
you want to model that for your kid?
Yeah, like with my child, I want to make sure that I give them space to feel, and I also want them to know that um, they are safe. I am in charge, and I have very specific boundaries. Like I've got them. And a lot of what I think I see most in parent-child relationships will be repair. I think full, like this modeling of perfect regulation will never happen. Children have the complete guidebook code to exactly what your buttons are as a parent. They're like, oh, boop, 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 boop. And then they just watch.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're never going to be perfect or get it right. I think a huge benefit is modeling dysregulation and then modeling awareness and moving back into regulation in a way that like takes ownership. So, like, let's say I'm in a I don't know, a heated moment with my daughter. Um, I might say, wow, I am really just like feeling a lot right now. I'm so angry. Um, I need to calm down.
Mm.
Uh, I'm going to just, open up a window and take a few breaths, and then we could talk about this,
Mm.
right? So, like, usually what happens is people will point at each other and be like, you need to calm down, and you point to each other's regulation as the problem, especially with children. They need to borrow your calm, they need to learn from your regulation skills. They don't have those yet. And
Right.
it's unreasonable to expect a kid to not have these big emotions that like we have when we're hungry or tired or upset or things feel unjust, you
Yeah.
know? So it kind of starts with us. And when we mess up, that also starts with us.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that was not my best moment. Can I start over?
Yeah.
I didn't want to yell and I just yelled
Yeah.
and that feels really bad. I can see
Yeah.
you're crying.
Mm.
Let me start over. I'm sorry, you know?
Mm. Gosh, that's so good. And like, I feel like I could talk to you all day about this stuff.
Right. I know we can nerd out all day. Yeah.
We'll have to do another one of these. But for people that are listening to this and they're like feeling inspired to take action on finding a guide, maybe like let we can talk a little bit more just about like what should they look for, right?
Mhm.
And then if they're like, no, I want to talk to Amanda, where can they find you?
Yeah, great. I think mostly you want to find someone that you like. Like you just gotta like them. I know a lot of people will be all consigned going to therapy, and I am not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not, and that's okay. I've had people who I've met with, and they just kind of decide like they want a different approach, or maybe they want to use insurance or something like that. Uh, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. Make sure who you're meeting with, you just generally like them. And then, especially, I think it's helpful to see if they have any kind of inclusion with the body, right, in their approach. Like, I, especially when dealing with complex trauma or trauma, I do not think there is a way through that, like, if it doesn't include the body,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, you'll just be spinning your wheels forever. And often, especially with trauma, um, talking about it over and over again makes it worse,
Hmm.
you know?
Yep.
So let yourself, I think when you find someone, let yourself allow it to be an interview process. So I always like to do like a 15-minute consultation that's free. And I just want to make sure the vibe is good, that
Yep.
they like me, that we feel like we can work together, that they're allowed to ask questions, make sure our schedules jive, you know. And so it's okay if you shop around for a while.
Yeah.
Like you might not like the first five. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Find someone that feels like a fit, and yeah, start there. And if you want to find me, I have a website, onearrowtherapy.com, and I'm also on Psychology Today.
Cool.
And yeah, that's probably the best way to find me, those two things.
So one last question for me after listening to this wonderful topic is why did you choose One Arrow Therapy as your business name?
Yeah, good question. So basically, it's a Buddhist story and a Buddhist idea that, let's say someone gets shot in the leg with an arrow and the pain is so immense that it feels unbearable. And so, in an effort, because they can't get on, like they can't regulate it, they can't stand it, it's almost like the distress is too much. They end up shooting themselves with the second arrow.
Oh my
You
gosh.
know, it's an idea of like none of us are exempt from suffering or pain.
Hmm.
And if you can accept that you've been hit and you can work with the wound that you have and you can move forward through it, then you will prevent wounding yourself or others further,
Hmm.
right? Like you'll be able to heal and find more peace on the other side. And it's an idea that the only way is through. Like we will all experience pain and suffering.
Hmm.
Instead of avoiding it, instead of um, maladaptively soothing it,
Yeah.
you're going to recognize I've been hit, and then without causing further harm,
Yeah.
move forward towards healing.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that.
Um,
Well, you are truly doing the Lord's work and helping
yeah,
guide people through their traumas and their limiting beliefs and all the tension that is built up in our world today. So keep on doing the good work. And I hope people feel empowered through this conversation and they feel that they have at least some skills to take away from it to start working on. This isn't going to happen on accident. And
right.
being able to do both together with body work and with the walking, having people guide through these triggers, emotions, things like that is monumental. It's foundational for being able to heal from those open wounds and being able to get in front of them. And it's not that everything's gonna be perfect on a day-to-day basis, but it is to teach the skills for when life inevitably happens. Uh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Thank you
So,
so much. It's an honor. Thank you.